Money moves, whether you understand it or not. Welcome back to the Personal Economic Model, a series designed to help you understand how money actually works, how it flows through your life, how it compounds, and how the decision you make today quietly shapes your financial future. I'm Sue Stevenson, certified financial fiduciary, wealth architect, and the host of your Wealth Redesign podcast. And today we're going to talk about something that affects every single dollar you will ever earn: the tax filter. Taxes. Because before you can save a dollar, before you can spend a dollar, before you can invest a dollar, it must pass through a filter. A filter you didn't create, a filter you cannot remove, but a filter you absolutely need to understand. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever looked at your paycheck and thought, wait a minute, where did the rest of it go? You worked the hours, you earned the income, you showed up every day, but somehow the number that lands in your bank account feels a lot smaller, than the number you thought you earned. Most of us have had that moment, and most of us simply moved on. But what if understanding where those missing dollars went is one of the most important financial lessons you'll ever learn? Here's something most people never fully absorb. You already have a financial partner. You didn't choose them. You can't fire them. And they get paid first, every single time. That partner is the government. And the mechanism they use to collect their share is the tax filter. Now, here's the important part. The tax law requires that you pay everything you legally owe. But not a penny more. The government isn't going to send you a note if you overpay. That's your responsibility to understand. And that's why learning how the tax filter works can have a significant impact on your financial future. Now, here's a story. It's my story. I remember sitting with a client years ago. He wasn't asking about investments. He wasn't asking about retirement. He simply looked at me and said, Sue, I make good money. Why does it always feel like I'm running uphill financially? That question stayed with me because he wasn't reckless. He wasn't irresponsible. He wasn't wasting money. And it's a question I had asked myself before I got into this space and this industry. He simply didn't understand how many different hands touched his money before it ever had a chance to work for him. And honestly, for a long time, neither did I. Early in my career, I treated taxes like most people do. Something that happened in April, something the accountant handled, something I didn't think much about the rest of the year, something I didn't think I had much control over. Then I started studying how money actually moves. And I realized taxes aren't an April event. They're a lifetime event. They're a January 1st to December 31st event. When money comes in, when money grows, when money is withdrawn, and sometimes the same dollars get taxed more than once. That realization changed how I viewed every financial decision from that point forward. Not to avoid taxes, but to stop paying more than the law requires. Now, I hope you've taken the time to look at this image of the personal economic model. We're talking about the tax filter. In the personal economic model, the tax filter sits at the center. And that placement is intentional. Don Blanton did a fabulous job illustrating the flow of money in one's life. Because that placement shows every dollar eventually passes through it. Think about your paycheck. Before you ever see it, before it reaches your bank account, taxes have already been taken. Federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security, Medicare, your gross income, and your take-home pay. Your gross income and your take-home pay are two very different numbers. Again, I want you to imagine Two neighbors, both earning about $150,000 a year in a similar profession, right? They have the same income, worked for about the same amount of years. One spends their time understanding how taxes affect them financially. The other ignores taxes completely. Neither worked any harder. Neither earned more than the other. Neither took more risk than the other. But 30 years later, one has substantially more wealth. Not because they were smarter or luckier, I've mentioned this before, but because they understood the rules of the filter. Because building wealth isn't about making more. Sometimes it's about keeping more. Now, there are three tax positions. Let's try to simplify this for you. Think of money as living in one of three neighborhoods. The first neighborhood is tax deferred. Money goes in before taxes. It grows without annual taxation, but taxes are waiting when you take it out. 401ks, traditional IRAs. The government is essentially saying, we'll collect our share later. The second neighborhood is taxable. This money has already been taxed, but every year it continues earning, the tax filter keeps touching it. Interest, dividends, capital gains. The third neighborhood is tax advantage. Money goes through this filter once, then grows, and comes out tax-free. Think Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks, some cash value life insurance. One passed through the filter and it's done. It never gets taxed again. My husband and I have owned trucks for many years. And trucking teaches you something very quickly. Revenue and profit are not the same thing. Just because money comes in doesn't mean you get to keep it. Fuel takes a piece, maintenance takes a piece, insurance takes a piece, and taxes take a piece. The same thing happens in our personal finances. The number that matters isn't simply what comes in. It's what survives the journey. And that's why understanding taxes matters so much. There are really only two ways to improve your financial future. Earn more or become more efficient with what you already earned. And for many families, efficiency is the faster path. The government is your partner whether you like it or not. And like any partner, they have a share. But here's what most people don't realize. Your partner isn't looking for ways to reduce their share. That's your responsibility, not your CPAs alone, not your advisors alone, yours. Because every unnecessary dollar paid through the filter carries an opportunity cost. That dollar could have remained in your system, growing, compounding, creating opportunities for your future. This is why the tax filter sits at the center of the personal economic model. Not at the edge, not at the footnote, at the center. Because everything in your life touches it. Your income, your savings, your investments, your retirement distributions. And once you understand how the filter works, you stop focusing only on returns. You start asking a better question. How much of what I earn do I actually get to keep? So let me leave you with this. Every dollar you earn has a silent co-partner. The question isn't whether taxes exist. The question is, how much of your money gets to stay with you? Because it's not what you earn that builds your future. It's what you keep after the filter. And the more efficiently you move money through your life, the more opportunities you create for yourself, your family, and your future. In our next episode, we're going to talk about the one part of the personal economic model that only you control, not the government, not your employer, not the market, you, the lifestyle regulator. Before we close, ask yourself one question this week. Do I know which tax neighborhood most of my money currently lives in? Tax deferred, taxable, or tax advantage? Because that answer may reveal more opportunities than any investment decision ever could. The goal isn't to avoid taxes. The goal is to understand them. Because every dollar you keep legally and intentionally, it's another dollar that can continue working for your family instead of living your system forever. And when you start seeing taxes as a filter instead of an annual event, you begin making very different financial decisions. I'm Sue Stevenson. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Until next time, stay intentional, stay empowered, and keep redesigning your wealth, one decision, one strategy, and one step at a time.